Hey everybody, welcome to 2020. New decade, new opportunities, new chances, fresh start, right? And I know a lot of people probably look at this channel and say, you know what, it's kind of a downer. Why are you focusing on all this negative stuff through Christmas and now with this? And like I said, I'm writing a book about struggling and even this video. Normally the video's one or two takes, as I'm sure you can tell. This is probably my 20th time recording this video. And I'm going to keep talking about you guys who might be struggling right now. I've been there. I am there. Let's be honest. There's a lot going on. And it's really easy for New Year's, especially. Maybe you're not out partying. Maybe you're alone. Maybe it's just the fact that you're looking back and saying, man, I thought by now I'd be here. I'd have this job. I'd be with this person. I'd be doing this. I'd be doing more. You're not satisfied with where you are. It's okay. This is the focus because when we're honest with ourselves, a lot of us are struggling. None of us are perfect. We know that, but there's a lot going on that just kind of gets swept aside. And we need to know that it's okay to admit that. It's okay to face that. It's okay to be going through the storm a little bit. And if that's where you are, then take today and look back. Not at the mistakes, not at the doubt, not at what you're missing, not on where you thought you would be, but look back and see how far you've come. You made it here. In spite of all the people that said maybe, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing, you wouldn't be able to make it the way that you're living. You made it here. And maybe you have a long way to go in front of you. Maybe you're where you want to be. Maybe you only have a little bit farther to go in front of you. Regardless, look back and see where you started and see where you are now. That's progress. And as long as you're moving forward, you're making progress, you're moving towards your goals, you're wanting more out of your life, then you're not failing and you're not struggling. You're progressing. And sometimes it's hard. The things that we want in life, the things that are worth having in life, rarely come easy. That's what makes God so great, is because all he asks is that we love him and we understand how much he loves us. But outside of that, outside of the grace of God, getting what you want out of life is hard. And so if you're there right now, happy new year, happy new decade. Don't worry about making a resolution this year, because if that resolution doesn't work out, that's another chance for the enemy to come in and say, oh, you failed again. You didn't make it. And you'll be less likely to have the motivation to get up and try again. Don't worry about making a resolution. Just make a little progress every day. Take one more step up that staircase every single day. Be that much more aware of what you need to do to get where you want to go. Maybe that means cutting some people out of your life. The pruning process in the Bible is so important that sometimes the things, the branches in your life that don't produce fruit, they gotta go. So whatever that looks like, look back and see how far you've come. Look forward and know that the path in front of you has already been cleared. That there's a pathway that leads to blessing, happiness, joy that can't be taken away from you, that leads to fulfillment, that lets you become the one that gets used to motivate and inspire and help somebody else. I can promise you, no matter where you're at in life, no matter what you're feeling right now, 99% of us, there's somebody around you that looks up to you and says, man, I wish I was that strong. In spite of all the things that they're going through, they just have a smile on their face and they just keep going and they show up and it's enough. Their focus isn't on the little things. They're not worried about the little things. They handle this better than me. They have boldness more than I do. They have something that I wish I had. But life isn't about just that. You don't just need to keep going for other people. Keep going for yourself. Keep going because you believe that God has a plan for your life. He does. I promise you. You may say, but I don't have any money or any resources or any talents. It's not about what you bring to the table. Just show up and God will equip you. He doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. It's that easy. You just have to be willing to come forward and step to the table. There's another great Bible verse that talks about how God prepares a table in the presence of your enemies so that you can sit down and feast. And you're feasting on the blessings, on the spoils of what God has for you, and your enemies watch on, not waiting to pounce or to attack, but to understand that they can't hurt you when you're living in the fullness and the blessing of God. God wants you full. And there's a lot of people that are still asking the questions. Well, if God is so good and if God can do all these things, why hasn't he done it yet? What about, why can't he just come down and fix this one thing? Why can't he come down and, just take this pain out of my life? Well, a lot of times it's a lot more complicated than that. And I don't have all the answers. I don't know your personal situation. I don't know what's going on in your life. I do know that God's will is for you to be healed. Whether it's emotionally, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's physically, the work on the cross healed all of it. All sickness, all disease, all of it done. So if you haven't received that yet, maybe it's time to look at what's blocking God from doing what he wants to do. Because we do have free will and we do get to make choices and we do get to decide. And sometimes the people around us influence us and kind of decide for us. And that's where that pruning comes in. So if you're going to do anything this year, here's the resolution you make. Stop trying so hard. It sounds backwards, right? Stop trying to do it all yourself. Stop trying to live up to some standard that you're setting for yourself and understand that you're going forward. Look at where you started and look at where you are. You're moving forward. And as long as you keep moving forward, you'll get where you're going. Especially if God has a calling on your life. Don't you think when God puts something into your heart and says, I want you to do this, that the enemy doesn't take notice and send everything he can to stop you from getting where you're going? And if we trust in him, if we believe in the calling, if we believe in God pushing us to where he wants us to go, then the truth is there is nothing that can stop you. There is no weapon formed against you that can prevail. Nothing can stop God's will except us. Because he gave us the choice. And we get to make the choice every day to wake up and to love him. To wake up and to want more of him. To let him be the craving. To let him be the desire. He will do things through you that you cannot do on your own. He will give you the strength to go farther. He will give you the motivation to work faster. He will push you through to the other side. And I can't promise you that for the next decade that you won't come up against stress and persecution and struggles and hurt and pain. Life hurts sometimes. We're human. We make mistakes. But I can promise you that we can keep moving and we can keep motivating each other and we can keep picking each other up and we can keep making progress. We can keep loving each other. Even the people that are hard to love, approach them with the heart of Jesus. Sit down at the table and say, you know what? I don't love what you're doing right now, but I love you. And you'd be surprised how far that can carry you. So that when it gets to 2030 and you look back at how far you've come, you'll know that the only way that you could have gone that far is with God. Happy New Year. Happy new decade. You can't do it by yourself.